welcome back. And today we are going to talk about those negative thoughts or those negative feelings that we can't seem to overcome. And just a short side note, this video is broad in the sense of this is the things that have worked for me and the things that have worked for my clients. If you do, of course, suffer from depression, then I always would recommend you see your doctor and that you do see a therapist, because these two things can really, really help. Never be afraid to ask for help. Help is always the best thing that you can ever do. Never do this in silence, but also know that the power of your mind is immeasurable, and you can change your mind and you can do so much with your mind, and your mind can overrule everything else that goes on in your body. And you will know that because of the way it takes you into that place of overwhelm or depression. But imagine if it can do all of that, how much it can do if you just point your brain in the right direction. And that's what I really am here to talk about. And it's creating those new neural pathways, it's creating new habits, and it's creating a better life for you. So I hope some of these techniques help, and this today is what we're going to be working on: how we can overcome those negative thoughts, how to create a positive mindset, how to really look to overcome challenges in a positive light, and the things that feel like failures are only things that we are learning from to grow and become better. So my first thing that I want to touch upon is those thoughts. The thoughts where we can't seem to get ourselves out of that space. We seem to be just constantly referring back into this place of I can't, or it won't, or it's not possible, or I'm such a failure, or the whole world is like overwhelming me and I can't manage and I can't cope. How do we get ourselves from that place, and how do we move ourselves into a place that can proactively and rationally manage those thoughts and feelings? So there's a couple of things I'm going to touch upon in this first instance. We can look at catastrophizing, and we are going to also look at when we get into that negative spiral of despair, as I call it. So catastrophizing is that feeling of overwhelm. It's that feeling when you think you've got a million different things just coming at you and you feel like, how am I going to do all of this? And I don't even know what to do. Just want to hide from the world now because I cannot cope. We, of course, cannot do that. So the thing I first would recommend you do is to actually write a list. By writing a list of all the things that you are feeling this overwhelm from may help you to clarify what actually is important. For some of you, there will be a deadline. For some of you, there will be things that need to be fixed, things that are broken. For some of you, there will be dates you need to make. Or for some of you, it is simply the day-to-day routine of getting up, getting ready, getting your kids ready, getting school run done, getting out to work, and all the preparation that is involved in doing that. So what is important? What on that list requires your instantaneous attention? What can wait? And what can kind of just fill in as and when as is possible? So for an example, I have a course that I'm currently on. I had to get the car fixed. I'm also trying to run my business. I have my kids to sort. I have food to prepare. I'm trying to sort out my channel. I'm trying to sort out social media, and I'm trying to work on the business and how I'm growing the business. And suddenly I've got all these different things coming at me, and I really want to do all of them, but I just cannot do that. So to me, I look at that and I go, right, what can I right now feasibly do? So for me, the course that I'm currently doing is a get it done when you get it done course. I have plenty of time on it. So as much as I know it's important that I need to do it, it might have to take a back seat to the things that right now are more urgent. So for me, it was fixing my car, because the car is what gets me to work. The car is what gets me to take my kids out and that type of thing. So I focus my attention on getting the car fixed. And then all the things that fall in between those two extremes. So one's quite urgent and one is kind of like, it will wait. And then all the other bits in between are normally quite small jobs. And I think sometimes we really overwhelm ourselves with this idea of all of these jobs and we must get them all done instantly. But actually, can we break it up in one way or another? So that's what you want to maybe take more of a focus on, is what's important right now and what can you deal with later on, and does everything else, can that kind of fall in place as is needed? The flip side of catastrophizing, that anxiety, that overwhelm, is that depression, that feeling of going into that kind of negative spiral and just nothing is good enough, nothing feels right, everything feels bad. I say to my clients that the moment they feel those feelings coming up, I want them to take a nice deep breath in and then shout out stop, because almost by saying that word, it cuts off this connection between the brain wanting to go into overdrive and this word that has just come out of thin air. And then I tell them to write a list again. And you'll start to see a theme here. But the reason I'm asking them to write a list is because I want them to write down all the things that they are saying to themselves, because most likely it is the things they're telling themselves rather than things outside of their scope that is causing them to feel the way they feel. Very rarely is it other people who are causing them to feel this, but sometimes it is, and we will touch upon that later anyway. And they'll write their list and they'll be like, I'm just not good enough at this, I'm not being successful in this, I feel I'm wasting my time, I'm not in good shape, etc, etc. And then I ask them, like, number one, would you say this to a friend? And I always say, if you were given your friend's body, how would you look after it and how would you talk to it? Have a think about that for a moment. Because I know people always say, what would you say to a friend, and would you say this to a friend? But if you had that friend's body, what would you do that body? Would you try to make it the best it possibly could be? Would you try and make sure you spoke to that friend's body and mind and saying, you can do this, you can have a go at this, there's every chance that this could work out really well? And suddenly you're changing the frame set from I can't to I can, or I'm going to try. And actually, the more and more we repeat this, the more we start to create new neural pathways, which will create new habits, which will override the older habits that we have created for ourselves. And it does take time. I am not going to sit here and pretend that it's going to happen overnight, but taking time to take a step back, to say stop, to write down what's going on for you, can really help you to reassess what is true in the statements that you're writing, and B, is this something that you would indeed say to a friend? I'm not going to simplify it, as I know all too well, depression is much more complicated than just writing a few notes on a bit of paper, but it's certainly a good starting point. Some of the other things that I've implemented for myself and others is to employ affirmations as a daily ritual, to write in a journal in the evening of what they have done in that day, to find the positives in that day. I think these two things alone, before anything else, is so, so important. You will start out when you do this and just think, oh, this is a waste of time, and you will keep in the negative, okay? But you'd really start to work on these gratitude affirmations, on these self-worth affirmations, and will start to, again, retrain your brain. We start telling your brain exactly who you truly are, not the person you are purporting yourself to be. Because who you truly are, for most people, is that you are a good person, you are a capable person, you are somebody who is worthy of love, you are somebody who is worthy of respect, and you are somebody who is worth being here. So at no point should you be telling yourself that you are any less than that. And that is something you want to be working on with yourself, is to repeat gratitude affirmations, to repeat those self-worth affirmations to yourself. But also when you go to bed in the evening, you need to remember that whatever you take with you into your bedroom in terms of your thoughts and what you've seen in the day, what you've been reading about in the day, is what you're going to take through your whole subconscious through the night. And the same goes for social media or media in general. So whether that's the TV, tablet, your phone, be aware of what you are consuming. We all know bad things are happening in the world. I'm not pretending that they aren't happening in the world. We all know that there are certain people that you probably follow and they end up just making you feel a bit shit about yourself. Unfollow those people. You can choose the feed that you want to view. So if there are people that keep coming up on your feed and it just makes you feel less, or it makes you feel unhappy, or it makes you feel like you're not enough, or you should be doing more, unfollow. If you feel it puts you in a headspace of overwhelm, unfollow. You know, you don't need to follow people for any other reason than because they inspire you. If they don't inspire you, if they don't engage you in a way that maybe just makes you laugh or makes you feel like, oh, it's not just me, then great, they're great to follow. But if there's people out there that you're following and they just do not add or enrich your life, unfollow. The same goes with the news. So when it comes to the news, I would recommend you really manage the time that is spent watching it wisely. For me, I don't really follow the news. That doesn't mean I don't know what's going on in the world, but I don't watch it religiously day in and day out. I know what's going on out there and nothing is going to change in that respect. The news has never been about reporting positive information. It's always about finding something negative in the world. And that's regardless of local to national to worldwide events. This does not mean that you're being ignorant, but it does mean you are being self-preserving. You are taking care of your mindset. And if you are someone who is very easily able to get caught up in a story, or even not just the news, but in certain quite dramatic dramas or traumatic events that are documented, if you're somebody who can get very easily affected by that, I would recommend you don't actually watch it because it is not doing you any favours whatsoever. If you are trying to manage a negative mindset, if you're trying to manage anxiety and or depression, and then you're adding fuel to the fire by watching something that is even worse and even sadder, then you are never going to move forward. So I'm not saying be ignorant. Yes, you will see maybe the odd headline here and there. You may read a little bit about it, but don't be there sat at 10 o'clock at night watching the news. Don't be there scrolling through social media watching all the horrific things that are going on around the world, because it's really not doing you any favours. As I said, there are other ways that you can be productive if you want to help a certain situation. But you're not helping by simply sitting there and absorbing a ton of negative information in an evening, in your the first thing in the morning. They're like the two worst times you could probably be absorbing that type of information is when you wake up or when you go to bed. So don't do it. Switch it off. Get to bed or get up in the morning, but that should not be your focus. There should not be a screen in front of you at those times. So we were briefly touching on creating to-do lists, whether that is for catastrophizing or if you can find yourself in that spiral of despair. I wanted to talk about what we do before that happens. So when your mind starts whirring, whichever way it decides to go, I want you just to shout out, stop. Okay? I want you to just go, stop. And see if that just breaks off this moment of wanting to spiral or catastrophize. We need to create a word that actually switches the brain from what's going on to actually, just a minute, I'm in the present, what can I do? So it's a way to almost put the brakes on things and think, right, what is actually going on for me right now? So it's recognizing the thoughts that are coming up for you, and then it's also challenging those thoughts. Okay, so sometimes we'll have, like I say, a moment where we go, oh my God, everything's just overwhelming. I can't cope. Stop. Deep breath in. Okay. Right, what can I do first? Or if you've been speaking negatively to yourself and you think you're going to go downwards, say for example you've gone, I can't do this, this is too much, and you've gone stop. You go, I can do it. I need to think of the best way that I can approach this. And if it's something that you really genuinely think you cannot do, I would speak to a friend. I would call them up and just say, look, just suddenly feeling really overwhelmed, or I feel like I've got to do this and it's just too much, and they will probably be able to talk you back out of where you are at. So find a point where you can stop yourself before you even go down or up into this sort of overwhelm or spiral. You want to break that cycle and actually take a moment to really rationalize what's going on in your thoughts, because that's the hardest thing. Rationality goes out the window because our head is in overdrive, right? But if we can switch off the head a little bit and just take a moment to breathe, that will help us to really think, right, just a minute. And the other thing I want to add on to here, so I'm sort of bolting this on a little bit, the whole I can, I can't, it's not possible, it is possible, whatever. There's plenty of information out there proven that by rewording what we are saying can really dramatically improve the way we approach things. So I'm going to give you my example because I think this is pretty common for most of us. I'll say, oh, don't be such an idiot. And that's saying such a flyaway comment and something that we probably have all done, right? If I say that, I switch that instantly. I'll say, I'm such an idiot. I'll say, you're not an idiot. You made a mistake. Or, you're not an idiot. It was just an accident. Or, you're not an idiot. These things just happen sometimes. Because oftentimes, A, you're not an idiot. But B, it is usually a mistake, an accident. It just happened. It's not like most of us go out of our way to be idiots. So rephrasing what we're saying to ourselves and really trying to stop ourselves in our tracks when we do say it. And even if you think to yourself, oh yeah, but I'm not really bothered when I say I'm just an idiot, I'm such an idiot. But if you can say I'm such an idiot, and would you say that to your friend for starters? Would you turn around to your friend and say you're such an idiot? Or would you say to them, oh, don't worry, it's just a mistake? So that's such a small, that you'll think that's such a small thing. So I'm just going to say something to you right now, and I want you to think about how this makes you feel. You're such an idiot. You're completely useless. You have no clue what you're doing. I don't even know why you're bothering or why you're even on this earth. You may as well just pop your clogs because you're just a waste of space for everybody here. I don't like saying any of those things, but B, why would I say those things to myself? It's like the worst thing you could possibly say to anybody. And I want you to really think, if I can say all of those words, then just being able to change the little words where we think it means nothing, I think is really important, because then we train ourselves to change the words which are really, really impactful on ourselves. Because you're not an idiot, you are not stupid, you are not useless, you are worth being here on this planet right now. You deserve to be here, okay? Every person deserves to be here, okay? And they deserve every opportunity and every possibility that is presented to them. So you must really, really think much harder about how you're treating your body. And if you could imagine your body and your brain as a second being, and just the words that are coming out of your mouth as something separate, how would you talk to that second being? So it is the same thing as talking about how would you talk to your friend, or how would you treat your friend's body. Same thing. If your body was separate from this that's talking right now, what would you be saying to it? Because I really hope you'd say something really nice to them. So my little bonus that I want to add on here today is goal setting. Now, the reason I'm talking about goal setting is because when we are in a negative headspace, we have no plans. We have no intention of achieving anything particularly except for to get through each day. And it's a bit pants, let's be honest. If there is something that you have always wanted to do, whatever that might be, it might be a hobby, it might be a different job, it might be a completely new career, it might be a relationship, I don't know. But whatever it is, I want you to set yourself the goal in terms of how would you get there. Because to get to somewhere, you need to set positive processes to achieve that goal. You are not going to ever achieve the things that you have dreamt about if you remain in that negative headspace. So if you really want to achieve something or challenge yourself or become something different, then the way you start speaking to yourself is going to be crucial. So then you're going to get your notepad or your journal and you are going to write down all of those hopes and dreams, okay? So there might be just one thing that is particular for you. Okay, and you as far as you're concerned, it's a dream, right? Because that's where your headspace is at the moment. So now I want you to write down as if you already have it. So let's say that your goal is to become really fit and healthy and strong, and you're really happy to take either your top off if you're a guy or be in a nice little bikini if you're a lady, okay? And you are going to write in the present tense, okay? So as if you have already achieved it, okay? So you're going to write, I am so healthy and fit. I am strong. I look great in a bikini. I am full of confidence. And it goes on and on. So all the things that you imagine achieving that look might be, for example, I want you to imagine how you would feel, and then I want you to imagine it as though you already have it, as though you're already there. This could be the same if you're looking at a different career. So let's say you want to become a really good photographer, okay? So I would write, I am an amazing photographer. I am booked out all the time. I get to travel around the world taking photographs of nature, and so on and so forth, okay? By affirming words into the subconscious, we are creating our reality. This might again sound a bit woo-woo, but it's not. You are telling the subconscious, you are telling your body, your mind, you are telling the universe, this is what I want, this is what I deserve, this is what I'm going to have. Okay? And the universe will turn around and go like, okay, all right, that's what we're going to do then. But you've got to do it daily. You're going to be every day going, I am. Not I will be, or one day I'm going, no, not one day. I am already there. I have this, I have that, okay? I was doing this with a competition that I entered. So I entered into a local business awards competition, and I had said to myself, in the run up to the finals and then into who was going to win and everything. So leading up to that, I was writing on a piece of paper and saying, I am the winner of the Somerset Business Innovator Awards. I am receiving the certificate for the winner of the Somerset Business Innovator Awards, and then so forth. And I also visualized already being handed the certificate with my name on it, and how it made me feel. And I won, by the way. And I was against the local gym. I was against another similar sort of studio to myself. So for me, that was real proof that it can work. And I've done that in multiple other things. And it comes about in smaller ways. So I've done things like, I said, I am going to receive some money. I will receive money in the next day. And literally in the next day, I had money come into my account. One day I was doing money affirmation, and I've been doing it for about a week, and then I received a check in the post which I wasn't expecting. So it definitely works. So it's about the power of the mind and the power of believing what you deserve. So that is my little bonus in terms of changing and then leveling up your mindset of what is possible. Do comment below, do let me know how you get on, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Thanks so much. Bye.